Hello, everyone, and welcome to Overwatch PIT EU Group A finale. This one's going to be great. There's a lot of do-or-die adrenaline, basically, for these teams. We've got Laser Kittenz versus GamersOrigin as our first best of three. I'm Ask Joshy, casting with Sideshow Gaming yet again. How are you doing today, Josh?
Doing really well. Hopefully we'll have some really exciting matches. We've got a whole new map pool as well for this final day of playoffs, so increasing the stakes even higher, making this a very pressured situation for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, just letting the players know. Good luck. English Cast is ready to go when they are. So we have both teams already in the lobby. Terrific for us, trying to get started off as quick as we can. But this group, very volatile. Right now, 3 different teams are already locked in. I'm going to just let you guys know who that is already. It's Ninjas in Pajamas, E United, and Vivi's Adventure. So we do have NIP versus Vivi's Adventure a little later today. That's going to be for seeding, obviously, in the playoffs. There are 2 EU groups, so they'll pair against the opposite group. First place in Group A will face 4th place in Group B, and so on and so forth. So seeding does still matter. Obviously, Ninjas in Pajamas and Vivi's Adventure want to get the weakest opponent going into the playoffs. But the important thing here is if GamersOrigin win this best of 3, they've locked up the playoffs for themselves. Laser Kittenz have to win to have a chance to go through. And even if Laser Kittenz win, they still might not go through if Rocks win their match later in the day. So 3 different possibilities here. GamersOrigin win and go through. Kittenz win and Rocks loses, then Kittenz go through. But if both Kittenz and Rocks win, Rocks goes through. Terrific stuff.
And it's still all up there for these top 3 teams as well. NIP are going to be playing directly against Vivi's Adventure, and they're both 3 for 1. So those are 2 teams that can definitely decide the seedings on their own. And E United are also 3 for 1 at the moment. So they've still got it all to play for in the sense of seeding from their point of view. And they're playing against Rocks, who, as you said, desperately trying to get their way into the playoff spot. And there's only 1 playoff spot left between these bottom 3 teams. We've also changed the maps up, and the first one's going to be Hollywood. But what do you think of the map pool that we've got going on? It's going to be very different to what we've seen so far, right?
Well, fans of Assault should be happy, as we're probably going to see either Hanamura or Volskaya today. That is obviously a big switch up from the past where teams, if they have a map pool with only 1 Assault map, generally they try to avoid it just for consistency's sake. Some teams obviously have that maybe surprise potential if they've practiced Anubis and another team hasn't, something like that. But yeah, teams might be thrown off their game a little bit today if they haven't been keeping up to date with the recent Hanamura and Volskaya strategies. But we are already in game now, so I'm going to send us on in. We've got GamersOrigin on the attack for Hollywood to start us off. Laser Kittenz will be on the defense. Just going to run through those names again. Laser Kittenz featuring Krems, Spazzo, Nesh, Gray, Kib, and Winghaven. Over on the other side, GamersOrigin attacking with Ben Best, Hip, Poco, Noki, Narwhal, and Leaf. And it looks like they're going pretty much full-on dive here.
Yeah, they are. And on the defensive side, as we saw yesterday, they're not running with Zapre at the moment, Laser Kittenz. So they've got Krems on the Soldier 76 and Spazzo on Lucio. And they're playing a little aggressive, making sure that they can charge up some of their ultimates and try and stop them in this choke point. Done a decent job of it so far. Take down the head of the beast. Best and Leaf both falling.
Yeah, Leaf took his POV to start with, and he basically just got flattened right away, so really excellent start on the defense. They're going to get a little aggressive with it. Once they see Poco out of the D.Va suit, they have the opportunity to stagger them quite a bit, and they actually do an admirable job there. No one being a little too trigger-happy killed her at basically the best opportune moment. So Hip on the Zenyatta, actually already off of Ana. I believe they started on Ana, so this is a little bit interesting. Discord Orb is going to be flying out to try and soften up this spawn camp.
Because they're not running that, Ana. Oh, look at this, the back cap as well coming in. Nawak doing a great job at splitting attention between the 2 of them. That's a perfect counter to that kind of really aggressive defensive play because he's almost got half a tick on his own and he's completely busted open that choke point for them.
I actually didn't even notice it, so Narwhal totally would have pulled that one over on me. Thank goodness we have 2 casters in here. We've got a Pulse Bomb ready to go for Narwhal himself. Winghaven dropping the Earth Shatter way out in front. A bit questionable, but the kills are starting to add up, and the defense will hang on regardless. Narwhal dropped a Pulse Bomb in the mayhem there. Oh, no, he actually held on to it before going down. So lots of ults still available on the defense, 4 of them now. And we've still got the defense actually now backed off a little bit. They're not spawn camping the entire game. They know that ultimates will be coming online soon, and they're going to respect that a little bit, back off to the point itself. Krems is way up here, though, and Nanovisor already being sent his way. Gets 2 kills almost immediately.
Nawak almost had the opportunity to land a Pulse Bomb onto him and take him out of the fight, but Krems dodged it and then proceeds to wipe all of the rest of GamersOrigin. And they're really struggling to engage here. They used the Pulse Bomb, now they're going to have the Transcendence along with the Dragon Blade, but having expended a couple of ultimates, Laser Kittenz again going to push up with this really survivable composition that they have that just loves taking these scrappy fights.
Man, I really did not expect him to get 4 kills with the Nanovisor. I saw the first 2, I was like, alright, well, they were up in his face, it makes sense that he would be able to grab those immediately, but then the rest of the team didn't get out of town fast enough and ended up falling. There's a Dragon Blade out now for Leaf, gonna watch him slice the air a few times. It looks like his primary targets died so quickly that the blade itself may not have been too effective. Gray is gonna go down there on the point, and that should be GamersOrigin's best grasp of the point here to try and capture it fully.
Just takes that one fight and a good wipe, and they're in control of the point. It's going to be a little more difficult when it gets to the payload stage because you need multiple wipes all along it to take the checkpoint. It's not like you can just have a single one fight to be able to take checkpoint 2, but GamersOrigin are going to push up and see if they can buy as much room as they can for free. This composition that they're running on the defense really struggles with this high ground as well, because their players can't easily get onto the high ground without abusing the variance of the lifts. You know, you don't quite know when those lifts are going to be running.
That's true. That's one of the very few sort of RNG elements in the game that pro players have actually whined about in the past. They would prefer, you know, an elevator that starts when they touch it or a ramp instead, just because you show up and it's not always available. But ults are starting to fly out now. Sound barriers on both sides. I hear a visor going off as well. That must be Poco. Looks like the fights are all over the place, though, so third person not helping us at all there. Poco does get a couple of kills. Spazzo and Winghaven dies to that final damage from the high ground. So the attackers actually managed to loop around onto the rooftops quickly enough to dismantle the defense there, send them back to spawn, and that cart has a lot of free range of motion right now. However, Poco already staring down those defensive exits.
A great play from GamersOrigin. They recognize that they have the advantage in terms of verticality with their composition. They've got Leaf. They get Poco and Hype on the high ground really early on. You know, they had all the time in the world because they'd already wiped Laser Kittenz. And now, with the advantage they have of Poco and Leaf up top, they can kind of pick their targets at will.
Yeah, they've got a really nice advantage. The cart itself, of course, is going to have to get freed again as the tanks have kind of piled up on there. Again, Leaf is going to deflect a sleep dart into Krems. That was actually pretty vile stuff there. Narwhal also going to be helping in the background, trying to pull the tanks off of the cart. But as it is, it seems the defense have reclaimed their property, I guess you could call it, the cart itself.
They had to use a couple of their ultimates to be able to win that one, although I think they actually only used the nano boost there on the defense. So now, but the ultimate advantage goes over to GamersOrigin. It's Leaf with his Dragon Blade, the Earth Shatter hits 2 of them, Benbest and Hype on the ground. Transcendence couldn't come in, so they couldn't save the rest of the team, and Leaf had already used his Nano Blade. Benbest gonna pick up 2 anyway though, and there's still a couple of players left alive. Primal Rage comes out and knocks Krems off the high ground. Can he chase him down though? It's a long way, and that soldier's got so much mobility.
Krems got 1 HP, and Primal Rage Winston is chasing him through the spawn. That was so funny to watch. I had Krems' point of view right as he was about to eliminate Winston. The Primal Rage popped in his face and got him to 1 HP. But Krems escaped. Krems lived. The rest of his team took care of business on the cart, and they're able to stay on top of it. Poco is still on that soldier, still does have a visor available. No nano possibility, though, since they did switch to Zen so long ago. Pulse Bomb comes out, finds Winghaven. That's a great way to open the door, and Leaf taking out the soldier means offense are really rolling now.
He gets a pick onto Leaf, and the tactical visor popped up from Poco as well. He really needs his pick onto Gray, finds it. Kid, the next target, down to 60 health, 60% on his ultimate, sorry, and half health. But the rest of those spawners going to be able to come in and they stabilize. Poco couldn't quite get the best angle.
Yeah, once the tanks returned, Krems has actually just been doing a great job staying alive and staying with the proper teammates, basically. He ran back to the forefront there with Roadhog and Reinhardt, and they were able to just pour in a ton of damage, kind of swooping in. So because Laser Kittenz had a slight advantage in the previous fight, they weren't fully healed up, ready to go once those tanks showed up on the scene again. We have so many ultimates available now for Laser Kittenz. This defense is all but assured. 14 seconds to go. It would take kind of a miracle push here for GamersOrigin to reach this checkpoint.
They've got both of their support ultimates up. The Transcendence and the Sound Barrier might come in if Noki stays alive and manages to generate some healing. And they've got control of the height as well. It's all about individual players they pick off. Kib almost got a hook there as well, but the Tactical Visor comes out, picks up Noki, so that's no Sound Barrier. Doesn't even get the opportunity to build it up. And as you said, as soon as they take those out of the fight, and Leaf got nothing with his Dragon Blade, it's all but wrapped up here. Laser Kittenz with a great defense, just Leaf left on the cart.
This is a really solid defense. Always nice to shut them down in the second stretch as opposed to the third, because the third stretch can really just be a one-fight situation where the team that locks up the checkpoint on attack really just have to win one time at the corner, and it can be very, very difficult to slow their assault basically at the very final checkpoint. So the fact that they stopped them in the second stretch feels really good. We did see a few games, actually, not just in the Overwatch PIT tournament, but the Carbon series as well, that wrapped up yesterday. Sometimes, even though you held them in the second stretch, it can still be difficult to reach the cart to that same spot. I think there were a number of games where it was just a difference of a few meters will decide who actually takes Hollywood. And this final stretch out here by the county jail, I've seen this a number of times where they just get to that very kind of close-knit space. I'm trying to find the right word here, but county jail, dumpster, and that high ground from the saloon all combined for a very effective place to defend. So tanks can just basically come running out of that defensive spawn, hit you with that CC ultimate, and there's just nothing you can do about it. Your respawn run length is just so long that it can be tough to get to the cart at all. So a lot of games do actually, find their fate at the end of this second stretch. We'll see now if Laser Kittens, swapping sides here, are going to be able to basically just push through or stall short.
You've got such a strong defensive spawn advantage when you're over there as well, because the spawn's incredibly close, and the spawn for the attacking team is all the way back at behind point A. It's very difficult to take fights if you are continually trading players, which can happen, especially when you've got somebody like Kib who's constantly picking off attackers with his hooks. And Kib's hero pool is really working well within Laser Kittens. He's been performing really well whenever he's been picked up on Roadhog. He's a very consistent player, and his Genji gives them a whole new way to approach compositions. But on attack at the moment, it does look like they're going with him on Genji, and in general, a triple dive composition. So similar stuff, but a completely different look for the defense.
Well, last time I watched Leaf at the beginning, might as well start with Kib here just to see. Basically, offensive Genji tactics can vary wildly just because the individual skill of a Genji player is going to give him different ideas about what he can survive and what he can't. So, for instance, Leaf dove through security last time. Kib, right here, is playing very cautiously, waiting for his teammates to help break down some barriers, perhaps. But as they get in here, Reinhardt's shield is already kind of low. Discord Orb is on him. They're going to try and power him down, but Nesh, the attacking Tracer, actually the first one to go down. Benbest does fall in the end. Krems, with that Helix Rocket and follow-up, gets a triple kill. Kib is still up here on the high ground trying to find Poco's Diva Soup. They do break him out of it, so this is Laser Kitten's huge door open to try and take point A.
And now that a couple of players have already been picked off, this is Kib's time to shine. He's dashing through players, gets the pick on the Poco, does a ton of damage over to Leaf. And that was great play by Krems. He just found those three players there ready and waiting for him to pile damage into. But GamersOrigin are not going to give this one up too easily.
It looks like, yeah, they're actually going to contest. Benbest hops onto the point, but he had already been discorded before he was able to get his shield up. Krems with not even a nanovisor, just attack visor, just blasting them down as they return to the point. Finds 3 kills again in rapid succession. So Krems already just blowing up this GamersOrigin defense. They're going to grab point A in under a minute. Kind of an extended first push there.
Oh, they're absolutely on fire, and they've built up so many ultimates that it's the opposite of the situation we saw previously when they were on defense. When they were on defense, they held them for so long that they had the ultimate advantage, but now coming into this attack in the Wild West stage, they've got 3 ultimates, which could be hugely impactful, and GamersOrigin are going to fight them for this high ground for all it's worth.
Benbest already warding them away as Nesh falls. Krems is forced back down to the cart itself. I'm going to go ahead and take Narwhal's POV since he is tactical visor at the ready and up on this high ground, so it can be very difficult here for Laser Kittens to try and break through an already established high ground defense. That is kind of the difference that we saw between last round and this one. I think Laser Kittens did not have time to set up when they were here. Nano Visor actually out for Narwhal, finds Kib immediately. I believe Genji had just used his deflect. Now these supports on the cart are easy pickings there. Gray goes down, Spazzo should not last too much longer, and that will be the defense finally hanging on really for the first time here with a really excellent team kill. Basically a team kill. Nesh does get out of there, but for all intents and purposes, they've re-grabbed the cart and still have a few ults to work with.
Pretty late spawn for Winghaven as well, and given that he's going to be leading the fight, it's going to delay them for quite a while. They've still got just under 4 minutes. Ultimate's in favor here of GamersOrigin though, and they're doing a good job at holding on to the high ground, so they're not even going to let it get near the county jail before they start blocking this payload repeatedly, and that could be the key to their success if they keep up these kind of fights.
a few ultimates at the ready. The card itself is not even really being fought over except for the couple of tanks on either side. Diva Suit is actually going to be committed here, but Poco died while outside of the suit and got no kills for it. So offense really must be loving that. Leaf actually falls extremely low health before the sound barrier comes out, but he does get healed back to full and finds the kill on Gray. We've got a visor out now from Krems. He's been deadly efficient with them so far, trying to find the Genji up there. He was deflecting, but he does get the kill in the end. Primal Rage Ben Best actually takes out the soldier threat, though, and the kills have added up now on both sides. It seems defense are going to hang on in the end. Spazzo, kind of the last man on the cart here. Fight is still happening, though.
Ben Best used his Primal Rage really well there to eliminate Krems, because Krems had been so successful with his previous ultimates. You have to take him out of the fight there, because his timing was almost impeccable. He was looking to line up another couple of kills. And GamersOrigin are still looking pretty good, because although they invested the Dragon Blade and the Primal Rage there, they got a lot of value out of it and won the fight, and now they have their Nano Visor to work with. So if they can put that in a good position, that's going to start the ball rolling and start snowballing this defense.
Yep, Nano Visor threat at the ready. Narwhal up on the bridge. Lots of squishies all ready to stare at. If he can keep Diva out of his grill, he should be able to light them up pretty quickly. However, they're not committing it just yet. It looks like they're going to wait for the fight to break down a little bit. Actually, Nanoboo's going to Leaf, not Narwhal, so that's kind of interesting. Leaf does not have Dragon Blade, so I think it might have actually been a missed target there. Kid actually... Oh my goodness. Leaf was right next to Narwhal when the Nano went off, and as a result, the entire GamersOrigin team is now dead, and the cart is about to reach the parking spot.
Yeah, that was not a great play for GamersOrigin. They're just going to get blocked by the Primal Rage as well. Winghaven's meaty arms of a gorilla smacking them back inside stage 9. And that's the win for Laser Kittenz there.
It had to be a
there was
mistake,
definitely
right?
something... I'm trying to think of situations where it wouldn't be a mistake. Perhaps they were going for something like... You put the Nano Boost onto Leaf to draw attention away from Kib, who's playing the Diva on the other side, and try and draw Kib away, and then you use the Tactical Visor on its own, so that you've got a two-pronged attack with those two ultimates that you have, and the Diva can't just shut down both ultimates at once. Maybe that's what they were going for, otherwise it does seem like quite a bit of a mistake, and it certainly didn't work out either way.
Right, the way it played out definitely makes it seem like a mistake. Nano Visor, I mean, I totally get you, because I had the same thought where it's like, oh, Diva's right there, watch out Narwhal. But then the Nano went off. I was actually Narwhal's POV already, so when I saw Leaf right next to Narwhal start glowing orange, I was like, oh goodness, did they just screw this up? They may have had some guaranteed kills if they had just committed it a couple seconds earlier. I'm not sure exactly where Anna was standing, if it was possible, but there was a moment where Diva was not in the fight yet. They definitely had an opportunity to light up some healers, and they just waited for the fight to break down a little bit more. So as a result, it is going to be Laser Kittenz winning that fight and just pushing the cart through to its intended destination. They take the first game, and now Laser Kittenz, they're fully in control of their own destiny here. If they can win one more game, actually, they're not fully in control. X-Rox has something to say about it. GamersOrigin are dead in the water unless they can win 2 maps in a row.
Laser Kittenz so far, though, have looked really good with Krems on this roster, because that really opens up 2 completely different compositions for them. And lets Nesh play on Tracer, where he's pretty good at Tracer, and he's also pretty good at Soldier 76. He's also pretty good at Pharah, so he's him alongside Krems as the DPS duo, and then you've got Kib, who can play Roadhog and Genji. It's nice. It works with this kind of selfless composition we saw that they were using on the defense, but they can also run the triple DPS dive, which is something that a lot of teams can't master both of those compositions. And I wouldn't say that they've mastered them in terms of the teamwork or coordination, but they've certainly got the pieces to be able to play both of them, and they're doing it well so far.
Yeah, Hollywood, I don't think they could have asked for much more. Preventing your opponents from finishing the map, and then basically only being held 2 or 3 times max over the course of your attack. Looks like Laser Kittenz really do not want to be sent home early here. And GamersOrigin, this is their last opportunity. So again, if you guys are just joining us here for the Overwatch Pit, we've been playing for quite a few days already now. I believe this is day 5 of the EU Group A. Every team has to play every other team. So 3 of our teams are already into the playoffs. GamersOrigin and Laser Kittenz still looking for that berth, but this series will basically decide which, if either of them, get to go. So again, just to recap, if GamersOrigin win this series, they will be through to the playoffs. If Laser Kittenz win, there's a contingency, but they've set themselves up to get to the playoffs. X-Rox still could play the spoiler later in the series, or later in the day. But as we get started here on Nepal Village, Poco is going to get murdered. Looks like Soldier and Winghaven both just jumped right on him there. Actually, no Soldier, just some range damage helped him out. No, it was Krems there. Krems helped him out. Kib getting a triple, though. Wow, Kib really going off at the beginning of this fight. Gets 4 killing blows. There's a 5th onto Narwhal. He is on fire already, starting off this first match.
Well, Kib certainly got the cleanup and a lot of the credit in the kill feed, but Krems did most of the damage. He's been playing really well on this Soldier 76 role. His aim is pretty fantastic, and he's got good timing for when he's using his abilities and stuff as well. So they absolutely ruined GamersOrigin on that first push, and they're looking to do it again as well. Their focus call has looked pretty solid.
Krems did fall extremely low health there, but again, yeah, 3 limbs in the span of a second. You really can't ask for much better, and it was Poco again, the Soldier on the side of GamersOrigin, which I just realized our overlay needs to switch up a little bit. But
look at the difference in ultimates as well, Joshy. Like on the 2 soldiers, Krems has got his tactical visor and Poco's on 30%. There's a huge difference in damage.
That's true. Can you keep going for us here while I get this overlay all sorted out here?
Certainly can. We'll see whether GamersOrigin are able to get the picks, but Ben Best immediately slept as well. Great play by Gray, and Leaf's been taken out. None of the team of GamersOrigin quite up to their ultimates, apart from Ben Best. Off the Primal Rage, but players have fallen everywhere as well, and he's not even going to be able to block the point or knock players off. That's going to be almost a wasted ultimate there for Ben Best, and he's killed as well. Oh, wow. See you later. He's flown off into the distance to join maybe the rest of the Gorilla family somewhere in Nepal.
Well, they're from the moon, right? So anytime you see a Winston corpse fly off, you just say he's going back to his colony. But Kib, I've just had his first-person view here for a while. He's never even really been threatened that much. Really capitalizing on letting the teams pour in some damage first before he gets in there to really start cutting him up. And now he's got the Nano Blade. HYP, hip goes down immediately. Ben Best, Poco, no one's going to survive this action. Leaf also incredibly low, does fall to Nesh's Tracer, and Narwhal just hops off the side to rejoin his team. 85% now on Village for Laser Kittens. You can see half the team is on fire. They only have 1 ult. Spazzo should be up to his sound barrier soon. Pulse Bomb should come online soon.
They need to get the point.
This last fight, yeah, this last fight is going to matter huge for GamersOrigin. They have some ults to work with. Dragon Blade is out. Nano's going to be committed. He gets Biotic Grenaded immediately and put to sleep. Excellent sleep dart there from Gray. Shuts him down. The point actually was flipped during that action, but I can't imagine it's going to last too much longer. Well, maybe Narwhal actually Pulse Bomb, double kill, helping them out.
Ben Best and Narwhal are the only players left alive on the point, though. And Gray's going to find the pick along with Winghaven, using that Tesla cannon, and the spawner's going to be able to make it as well. Poco's just about the last player that's going to be able to force that overtime. But as he gets taken out, it's just dribs and drabs coming in here for GamersOrigin, and they're just going to feed into the angry maw of Laserkins, who's looked so good so far on Nepal.
I'm just imagining actual kittens with their mouths open, just like the angry maw of the laser kitten. It's kind of funny, but yeah. Great start for Laser Kittens. They won the first game, and they won that point 100 to basically 0. Obviously, it was a small amount of percentage there, but yeah, they're looking dominant. And I had Kib's POV almost the whole time, just dashing in and out of danger quite expertly.
And they're sticking with the triple DPS dive, and to be honest, GamersOrigin have looked a little weaker. Oh no, here we go. They're switching it up here. Maybe they're listening to me. But they're going with a 2-2-2 kind of half dive composition, but they've still got the Reinhardt shield to play behind, and it's going to be Laser Kitten sticking with that triple DPS, so he plays to pick off Nawak. Leaf's going to be have to take it slightly easier if he goes deep. Oh no, he's actually made a really late switch over to Soldier 76 as well.
Well, Soldier's always valuable. We haven't seen any Pharaohs come out here on Nepal. That's, some teams would maybe try to bust her out here, but we've got Ben Best in our POV right now. Winghaven actually gets the Biotic Grenade, so he does not last long as Winston at all. He's going to be the first one down, and now Ben Best turns his attention towards Kib, receives a little healing, pump up his healer's ults a little bit. Good job not just grabbing the health pack like I would have. He's going to go over to the ledge side here. Gray gets focused down incredibly quickly. Leaf finds the killing blow on him. Poco, actually Krem's getting focused down now, and this is a completely new look for GamersOrigin. They're looking great in this first fight.
They always look better when they put more tanks into their composition, and I'm not sure why they don't do it slightly more often. Ben Best was flirting with the Reinhardt at the beginning of the round and has now gone back to Winston. So they do have a dive composition here but with some added flavors. You know, they've got the Winston D.Va, and they've got the Soldier 76, which is so good on this particular stage shrine.
Wow, Kib gets a dash there for like 250 damage. Just basically hit the entire enemy team at once. Dragon Blade is out now, and he's continuing to do that. Hit everybody at once. Krems finding the killing blows there. Pulse Bomb also was committed and came up fruitful, so Laser Kittens will grab the point back. 43% for GamersOrigin. Laser Kittens, you know, trying to basically put themselves into the playoffs here. They've got everything to play for to try and defend this shrine point.
They're going to have a Nanovisor as they push in here, and they can get Poco in the face of Krems, so their visor should definitely get more impact than Krems if they can properly neutralize him. But he's playing all the way up by this elephant statue at the moment. Depends whether they can really get Poco in his face before he gets taken out.
Yeah, he is indeed guarding the elephant. Narwhal tries to get in there to mess with him a little bit, but backs out when he realizes how unsafe that idea was. We have Leaf actually with the Nanovisor just killing everything. Spasso and Kib fall super fast. Krems can't even jump off the cliff before getting murdered by that Nanovisor combo. And of course Narwhal there with the Tracer able to pick up any stragglers, but GamersOrigin will flip it pretty easily here. It's about a tie game though, so Laser Kittens did an admirable job at least getting it to that point. Now things are going to start getting a little hairy. It's going to be up in the 70s very soon. If they Laser Kittens don't grab it back here, they may be in trouble.
Laser Kitten's ultimates aren't really that impactful as well. They need to find individual kills and focus Poco. That's exactly what they've done. The self-destruct is going to get popped off and he's going to get back into it. No, he's already died as well. So that gives Krems the opportunity to use his tactical visor with impunity. They couldn't quite find very many targets. They got quite a bit of damage though out onto the rest of the team, but GamersOrigin going to be able to come through strong. Great play from them just to wipe the floor, and a lot of ultimates committed there on the side of Laser Kittens. They're not looking great in this particular round.
Gray just murdered Leaf and Narwhal trying to defend himself. They both jumped at him and he took out both of them. So actually both DPS players are missing from GamersOrigin. That's kind of funny, but I don't know if Laser Kittens are going to be able to rally and put together a coordinated attack, or if they're just going to have to start flinging bodies at the point. It looks like everyone has returned on the side of GamersOrigin just in time to take the fight. So a couple of ults going out now. It sounds like Noki and Leaf are the first ones down. Narwhal pulse bombed himself. That's the only explanation I can see, as he did use it and died. And Laser Kittens grabbed the point right back.
Use the Transcendence and the Dragon Blade there. And both of the sound barriers have been expended in the previous fight. Kind of expected from the side of Laser Kittens that they would be able to flip that over with nice use of their ultimates. And now we have to see what kind of reply. It's going to take a little bit of a tick up for Leaf to get his tactical visor so that they've got the Nano Visor on board. Maybe he'll use the Nano Boost to be able to get that up, or just spam for a little while. They've got a bit of time. It's only 70% so far for Laser Kittens.
They're going to try and maximize it here. We have a tactical visor ready to go. D.Va is very close to his face though, so he's going to wait. Also not really necessary as Gray finds that kill across the field there onto Benbest. The Winston can't engage, so the rest of the team, GamersOrigin, are going to back off toward the shuttle, and they really don't want to let this one slip. They got it to 99%. The work is already done. They just have to win one fight. I would expect Leaf actually to stay up here on the high ground and maybe tactical visor from a different angle, but they're all going to run in together. Leaf drops the biotic field. There goes the tactical visor looking straight at Kib. Nano Boost comes in, but Kib's already deflecting. Need to find some new targets, and he can't do it. No one's on the point. Laser Kittens just grab it without anyone touching foot on the point. I can't believe that. 2-0 lead now for Laser Kittens.
They really dropped the ball there, Nawak or Benbest. The rest of the team is really preoccupied with taking the fight and making sure it goes well, but I think it's fairly unforgivable that neither your Tracer nor your Winston at any point is going to force that overtime out. They're just so occupied with winning the fight, and it wasn't quite going the way that they wanted to, despite investing the Nano Visor there onto Nawak. Sorry, not onto Nawak either. It was Poco that was running that. And they weren't getting the results that they really wanted out of it, and so they felt like they needed to invest more players to swing the fight over in their favor, and just didn't get on the point. So now 2-0 up for Laser Kittens.
I'd like to share at this point some wisdom from Mendo, everyone knows and loves from Cloud9, and that is that Roadhog wins games. Leaf and Kib are both playing Roadhog here in the Sanctum, of course, because of that added environmental kill threat, both for his hook and his ultimate. Sometimes you can just get some instant kills, but in the outset here, Benbest is going to be the first one down, so it's actually Laser Kittens with the early advantage. Leaf unable to hit any hooks, actually bounces that one right off of Winghaven's shield. Winghaven's just going to march forward, knowing that they have the numbers advantage. There goes Leaf as well, and Laser Kittenz, solid start once again.
And Benbest going down right at the beginning certainly hurts them. Both teams running the triple tank, so it's going to be a lot on the Roadhog, as you were saying earlier, and correct and get large value out of these CC ultimates that they have on board. Poco's got a huge amount of energy at the moment, has already built up the Graviton. Everybody from Laser Kittenz getting caught in that almost, and 3 players go down almost immediately. That's all 3 of the tanks as well. So GamersOrigin can pile forwards. Great play from Poco.
Yeah, that's another way to definitely make use of Roadhog is Graviton surge a bunch of people right in front of him. Leaf actually just sent, you know, several huge blasts into them, got 4 limbs very quickly. Actually got the hook kill onto Spazzo to round things out, and then Gray, as Gray jumped into the pit, put Leaf to sleep just as a goodbye present. But obviously everyone's awake now. The fight is about to ensue again. No Graviton surge available, but the Nano Visor from Nesh. Nesh on the Soldier rather than Krems for the first time today. Is going to be dueling against Narwhal across the way, but Noki finds the killing blow, and GamersOrigin, this percentage is really starting to pile up. They win another fight with ultimates committed. Graviton surge coming out now, grabs several members of GamersOrigin. Bionic Grenade goes right in. This could be their chance to kind of even things up, but it's still kind of a 5v5 here.
Didn't get what they wanted from that Graviton, but Benbest went quite weak. Look at Poco, he's already built up another Graviton as well, but they don't quite have the follow-up for it. Kid uses the Roadhog. Maybe that Graviton would have been better spent if they dropped back to the point, waited for their spawners, and waited for some more DPS to go up. Now I could already died. Leaf wasn't quite with them, couldn't use the whole hog, and now they're lacking some synergy with the remaining ultimates on their side. So although he's done excellently to build them up so quickly and do a ton of damage, obviously, Poco, that last Graviton not quite what they were looking for.
Oh, Winghaven, no! So close. I watched his first person when I saw him get the nano boost, but the Earth Shatter, I knew he was looking for it, and he dropped it right into the shield of Benbest. So unfortunately, the Earth Shatter was negated, and Winghaven just did not have the position to really make use of the nano boost. So 2 ults really slipping up there for the side of Laser Kittenz. Winghaven's going to go down. Poco just blasting away here. Relatively high energy, 80, 90, 100 energy now. Leaf also getting 2 kills there on the Roadhog, gives GamersOrigin a chance to push right back in here. It is about a tie game now, so if they can get that percentage up, this is their last hope at moving on in this tournament.
Oh, Kid falls to his death there as well into the abyss, looking for gold. And the hook as well from Leaf is almost going to catch Winghaven. They're surely going to be able to take him down. That's the tank out. And although Krems has built up his Graviton, Poco has another one on the board. He's been pumping out so much damage here. And hopefully they'll be looking for some kind of synergy here with either the Earth Shatter into just a huge amount of damage coming out from Narwhal and Leaf, or maybe they'll have the whole hog to synergize with it as well. So this should be another one fight.
Graviton Surge actually on both sides. It's a group hug situation. Poco and Leaf actually get the first few kills and the next few kills and the rest of the kills as the hook comes in on Nesh. That'll wrap things up, and GamersOrigin will finally get a point on the board. Celebratory suicide here in the Sanctum. Every time, of course, you win a round on Sanctum, it's customary to jump into the pit. Almost like skinny dipping as a celebration there, but of course not as fun for regular people. Anyway, heading to a 4th round here on Nepal, so GamersOrigin finally fighting back. They feel the pressure really mounting now. If they want to advance to the playoffs, they have to win every round and another map.
They were pretty good at this stage last time, though. They had a formula that was working well against the triple dive composition coming out from Laser Kittenz. They just didn't execute it well as it came to the end of the game, and I feel that was more of a freak accident than them actually just being bad on Shrine or having a concept to their composition that was flawed. So it looks like they're going to run with something similar. No, it's actually going to be... Oh, yeah. So very similar here from GamersOrigin, except Benbest... Okay, no, he's just waiting a long time to switch to Winston. I don't know why. They're obviously having a lot of discussion, though, about the compositions they want to run, because that's the second time they've had incredibly late swaps that have actually made them late to a fight.
It's interesting because they are the first ones to actually grab the point, at least like put their foot down on it. And Benbest trades with Gray. That was kind of an interesting exchange that I just saw there. Winghaven falling extremely low, does go down. Watching Hip now on GamersOrigin try to keep everybody healed. Nesh actually got put to sleep and nade comboed. Good stuff there from Hip. But Kib on the other side, Genji waking up. and actually pouring in a bunch of damage now. Unfortunately, most of his team has already died. GamersOrigin still have the numbers advantage on the point. They're going to try and grab it first.
They grabbed it first, but Kib has already got his Dragon Blade up.
What's he
popping it
swinging
off,
at?
looking for targets. He's trying to find Leaf. He's got a swipe on him, but couldn't find the kill either. So Kib's Dragon Blade really doesn't find anything, and Leaf's picked up the opposing kill onto Krenz and is now looking for the pick onto the Zen of Grey. He falls, and Kib's already weak. This is looking like a really good fight here for GamersOrigin.
This is just a crazy brawl to take control of the shrine here. We got Attack Visor out already as well. Krems falls low health, but Kib shuts down the soldier before Krems even dies. So GamersOrigin at like 95% of a cap for almost this entire drawn-out fight. Ults have already started flying out from both sides. They finally grab it. GamersOrigin up to 5% now, and they do have a sound barrier to work with. Noki himself, the Lucio, actually falling extremely low. Don't fight that, Winston, face-to-face. What are you doing? Nesh just comes in and blasts him down. Laser Kittenz actually great opportunity here. They do flip the point over, so GamersOrigin, man, they fought super hard for that 11%, but they get sent back to spawn.
Yeah, they just invested a little too much, not in terms of ultimates, but in terms of they sacrificed their own health and players to get the position on the point. And by the time the spawners came in, obviously they're full health because they've just come fresh out of the spawn queue and managed to flip it back over. And now Poco's gone on over to Pharah, so they've got a triple DPS dive composition, but with the Pharah.
And you know me, I'm always watching the Pharah players just to see if I can judge them or not, basically, right away. And Poco launches a few rockets, doesn't actually find anything with it, but there was a Zen Transcendence out, so can't really be blamed too much for that. Kib and Nesh finding kills there. Poco's alone on the point, will eventually fall, so Ben Best and the rest most likely going to go down here as well. Narwhal actually ran all the way back to spawn as Tracer to rejoin his teammates, so lots of ults, again, getting added up here for Laser Kittenz. Kib has the Dragon Blade, Winghaven with the Primal Rage, and Spazzo's Sound Barrier means they've got a lot of staying power here on the point as well.
I'm not sure how much impact Poco's really going to have on Pharah because Krems has got all the ground in the world. He's actually getting pressured a little bit now, but as soon as Poco comes inside the point as well, there's a ton of players from Laser Kittenz who can actually do damage to him. He's going to have slightly reduced effectiveness, I think, and a lot of ults being exchanged from both sides, but the whole time, this timer is just getting ticked up by Laser Kittenz already on 80%.
Poco, I did abandon you. You got a couple of kills, so good job. But Kib did use the Dragon Blade, got a couple of kills very swiftly, went back to the point, got another one, and prevented GamersOrigin from flipping this back over when they did have a numbers advantage. So Kib, very, very nice MVP kind of plays there. Just to keep the point in Laser Kitten's control, and Poco is going to fall extremely low as he goes down. So did GamersOrigin's hopes. That is all she wrote. No one was close to the point at that point. Noki, relatively close as a Lucio, was not going to be able to do much alone. So that is Laser Kittenz putting a nice bow on things, 2-0, and keeping their hopes alive in the tournament. However, GamersOrigin now are mathematically eliminated from escaping Group A, so I want to thank all of them for some amazing games. Here's that huge Roadhog moment that I mentioned before. A great way to use him is just blast on in to those Graviton surges. And
throughout this series, it really seemed like Laser Kittenz had the better players in terms of individual talent, for sure. Like they're a team that was formed with a lot of big names from previous teams, but you're never really sure. I mean, most of these players have either not fit into bigger teams or been cut from bigger teams, or there's been some reason why they're actually not playing at the elite tier at the moment. And if you put a load of B stars together, it can often be a little bit janky and not quite work, but they're actually performing really well together. They've got a lot of synergy within the individual hero pools, and players like Kib and Nesh and Krems are really putting up big performances. So I'm impressed with this team so far. Given how young they are, they've got a lot of potential, actually.
We saw some great plays kind of across the board. GamersOrigin, I want to shout out Hip again, really solid Ana plays, and Leaf on the Roadhog really gave them a nice fighting chance in the previous round on Sanctum. But other than that, I mean, I think it was just a tale of mistakes, basically. Hollywood, we had that maybe botched nano visor, at least, questionable Genji nano boost on their defense that ended up going awry, and then not stepping on the point the first time they were at Nepal Shrine. Like, those mistakes are huge
Yeah.
in a series like this. So GamersOrigin, unfortunately, unable to get it together. And I feel like it was the complete opposite for Laser Kittens. They felt the pressure. They knew what they had to do. They got their 2-0, so now all they can do is sit and wait. Just to refresh everybody, GamersOrigin have been eliminated mathematically, but Laser Kittens now have to sit and wait for X-Rocks versus E United. If X-Rocks win, then X-Rocks will move on. So Laser Kittens' fate, they've done all they can at this point, and they're just going to have to watch and see what happens to them as far as playoffs are concerned. But our next series should be another great one. It's Ninjas in Pajamas versus Vivi's Adventure, and both of these teams have a 3-1 series score so far in this group. So I'm very curious to see if Vivi's Adventure can hang with Ninjas in Pajamas, who've looked so phenomenal every time I've been able to cast them.
Seems unlikely, doesn't it? Because Vivi's Adventure are really not a big name. They're on the up and up, and they have been performing really well so far. But they did lose to E United, and they just kind of had some very close games with other teams in this group, whereas NiP have kind of been dumpstering people. And that one game against Laser Kittens really early on, the first game of the entire tournament, actually, they had a big stumble and it looked like a drop of form. So I expect NiP to be the favorites going in, despite them being even in terms of their win record. But Vivi's Adventure have looked great so far and keep kind of surprising people with what they're able to bring to the table. So that's going to be a great game for sure.
It's true. And we obviously have a lot of people to thank for putting on the Overwatch Pit. All of you viewers, of course, thank you for joining us on this Monday morning or evening, depending where you're at in the world. And we do have all these lovely sponsors across the bottom of your screen, so we are going to show you some of the products that they're offering. Obviously, without them, we would not be able to do this tournament. So we'll just take a few minutes off here between series Ninjas in Pajamas and Vivi's Adventure BO3 when we return.